Welcome back. Here we are on the launch pad already. We've skipped the VAB this time, and we're just going to launch one of the stock vehicles available in Kerbal Space Program. I'll show you where to find it later. So the reason why we wanted to start on the launch pad here is because I wanted to introduce the icons and the menus available here on the top right of the UI once we are in the actual play area, or like the not the map view, but you know what I mean. Like once we're actually in the game, we're not in the VAB planning anything or building anything. We're out here flying. So I will launch this rocket and try to fly it into orbit while I explain some of the stuff that we can see here on the top right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come down here to this gas can, and I'm just going to click that button, and you'll see that it shows the resources here, and we'll see how our flight into orbit affects some of these resources. So here we go. SAS is on, the throttle is up, we've got our staging correct, and let's go. 3, 2, 1, spacebar. So we're accelerating, we're burning fuel. You see it where we're used to seeing it, the fuel going down and the liquid fuel. We can also see it here in the resources tab. You see our solid fuel, and you can see it as we hover over these things in the UI, in the menu here. It will highlight them in the game view. So here I am just trying to tilt over here. Let's throttle down a bit. Definitely don't need to be using that much fuel. So we can see the solid fuel is almost out, and that matches with the solid fuel running out here on the side. And here we go. Now it's just the center core engine. So we don't need to carry those up, those solid rocket boosters. So let's stage again in 3, 2, 1. Oof. You can see those fall down, fall back to Earth. Kerbin, I should say. We'll set the SAS to prograde, and we'll carry on into space. Now that we've throttled the engine down so much, you can see that our oxidizer and liquid fuel are being depleted at much slower rates. If I were to shift up and throttle up, you can see the rate goes up, and that's in the grayed out portion here. It's telling me how many units per second the engines are using. Very neat. So we'll throttle down again so we have some more time to talk. What hasn't been changing is the monopropellant and electric charge, and that's because these resources are not being consumed right now. This ship doesn't have any monopropellant consuming engines, and the electric charge is being fully replenished by the engine. The alternator is working. Do we see it here? No, we don't really see the alternator, but we know that we're being charged right now, because even though we have our SAS on, our electric charge is not being depleted. So here we are, cruising off into space. Let's toggle the map, see how high we are. Okay, yeah, definitely in space. Let's tilt over and burn. Burn, baby, burn. We'll tilt below the horizon a little bit, and you'll see that will bring our apoapsis down. So that'll redirect some of our energy into expanding our orbit instead of just getting higher and higher. Looks kind of funny here, though. Looks like it's going to be firing back to Earth. Okay, so we're out of fuel here. We can check the staging. We're happy with that. So 3, 2, 1, stage. And here we go. Now I can go back to prograde. And we'll go stability assist. I may have held that a little bit, held that nose down a little bit too long. Ideally, we shouldn't ever pass the apoapsis, but that's why I'm not following prograde anymore. I've got it up at stability assist. That'll keep the nose a little higher, and I could even try pointing up a bit. That might help us bring our apoapsis back up. Yeah. See, there you go. Just a little tweak there. Just raising the nose 10 degrees, and our apoapsis shoots out in front of us again. And then we can go back to prograde. We got a periapsis, and there we go. We are in orbit. And as soon as I shut the engine off, you can see that our electric charge dropped a little bit. And that's because the SAS system was using some electricity without the engine running. And because we have no solar panels, we have no fuel cells, we have nothing generating electricity, we're just consuming electricity. And if I were to, say, try to flip the ship around, you can see that it consumes energy to do that. And our battery will deplete. So that's a resource that you have to manage. All right, so we'll leave that there. We'll point us prograde, and I think that quite simply explains the resources tab. The next tab down from that is our alarm clock, and this is neat because you can create an alarm for yourself. If you are going to run multiple missions at the same time, you can throw an alarm clock in. Say, hey, I have a maneuver coming up, and I'll show you about maneuver nodes later. I have a maneuver coming up in about, an hour in the game time. So I'm going to set a time to alarm. I'm going to add the alarm, and then in 5 minutes, or 5 hours here, let's see, yeah, 5 minutes, the alarm's going to ring and remind me to switch back to this vehicle and prepare for executing that maneuver. So that can really help you out, especially if you have a Kerbal who's heading on a suborbital trajectory and you don't want them to be, but it's not yet time to go ahead and circularize their orbit or something. You might want to set an alarm to remind yourself to go ahead and fly that craft. All right, I'll cancel that for now because I don't actually want it. Down here, action sets. We can edit action groups. This is where you can have certain pieces and parts combined together. So it gets more useful when we get into things like with lots of solar panels that extend, or landing legs that retract and extend, and antenna that retract and extend. But for now, we'll highlight this little antenna right here. You can barely see it, and we'll say on custom 1 we want to toggle the antenna, and you'll say action groups, custom 1, group actions. Okay, good. We can leave. Now if I press, I'll spin this around so you can see it better. If I press 1 on my keyboard, it'll extend the antenna. And I press 1 again, it'll drop it back, which saves us from having to go and click it individually and extending it. So if you have something that you're going to need to operate, and maybe you have several pieces, let's say several solar panels you want to extend all at the same time, and you don't want to go and click them all individually, you just hit 1. Down here we have detailed stage information. So this we can get more information from our stages. So instead of just having how much fuel's left and what parts are in there, we can see the delta V available, the specific impulse, the thrust to weight ratio, start mass, end mass, and burn time available. So for the top stage, which is just the re-entry stage, it's all zeros essentially. The bottom stage, or the upper stage here that we still have attached, you can see we have 1410 meters per second of delta V. The specific impulse is 345. Thrust 60 kilonewtons, thrust rate ratio is 2.2, start mass was 2.8, end mass 1.8, burn 53 seconds. We have 53 seconds of burn time left available to us. Honestly, I think you can get away with probably even less than that. You don't really need detailed stage information, to be honest, but it's fun to look at sometimes. So just hide it all. This is your inventory. This is the locker. So you can see that Val has parachute and her jetpack available, and then the command pod actually has an empty slot. We didn't put anything in this command pod's inventory, but we can get to that. We can do that later. The maneuver tool. This is going to be a subject of probably a whole other video, so we'll leave that for now. Just know that it's there. And finally, we have the KSPedia. And this is where you might want to come when you're stuck. This is the manual, construction interface, the parts toolbox. It tells you all about the different parts, how to sort them, sub-assemblies, etc. Part details, general details, name, model, description, cost for when you're playing career mode, and then module details. Some rules about vessel crewing, some of the automated stuff that'll happen, access groups, really advanced explanation of some of the advanced tools that, to be honest, I haven't even played with too much. So the KSpedia is a great place to come to read about what things that you're curious about. If you're curious about the flight interface, hey, what does this do? What does the nav ball do? It tells you everything here. What about the controls? How to use the altimeter? All sorts of information. The KSpedia is where it's at to find the answers to whatever question happens to be bugging your brain, which for me, when I was learning Kerbal Space Program, was all the time. So that's that. We'll cover the maneuver node planner in another video, but for now, happy flying.